is 8:15 on this Monday. It is October 2nd. It's a devastating morning. I know for a lot of you tuned in right now to this Facebook Live, you are just joining us. This is maybe the first ounce of news you hear, especially about Las Vegas and what has happened there. Unfortunately, we are sad to report that the deadliest mass shooting on U.S. soil has occurred, and it all started last night at 10:08 p.m. We do know that there was a shooter. His name is Stephen Paddock. He is dead, 64 years old. He shot from the 32nd floor of Mandalay Bay into a crowd of people below him, thousands of people who were at the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival. If that festival sounds familiar, it's a 3-day festival, happens every year since 2014, and a lot of people attended. I was in Las Vegas this weekend. You girls know that. Just another weekend in Vegas. I was at Mandalay Bay on Saturday morning. I had cousins who were in town going to that 3-day country concert. We know that 50 people, more than 50 people, are confirmed dead. We have over 400 people who have been injured, and we're seeing all of that video, all of those photos coming in online. I know, Dina, you've been tracking a lot of this information.
Yeah, I mean, there is no easy way to receive this news this morning. We know a lot of you, if you woke up this morning to several alerts on your phone, that's how most of us found out about it as well. So as we continue to get new information, new videos, which the videos, by the way, as we show them, they are very difficult to watch. We want to give you a warning. Viewer discretion is advised because it is incredibly impactful but difficult. It's hard for anyone to process some of the videos that we're seeing from overnight. But yeah, we're seeing the president has spoken this morning, called this a pure act of evil. At this point, the motive is still unknown.
Yeah, we have no idea why he decided to do this.
But we know that this gentleman, Stephen Paddock, had a girlfriend who was not in the country at the time. The reports that we're finding, in, as far as how the investigation has unraveled thus far, is that he used her ID in some way to get into the building at Mandalay Bay, and he had been there since September 28th, I believe. Inside of that hotel room, he had more than 10 rifles with him inside of that room. And when police started to make their move to go into his area to break down the door.
32nd floor.
32nd floor, a self-inflicted gunshot wound then, and he took his own life. So many of the questions to our answers may never be known, but our answers rather to our questions. But of course, investigators are now trying to put all the pieces together.
Exactly. And before, okay, what you're looking at right now, we want to warn you before you hear these gunshots. This video, there's no audio here, but what you're looking at is visuals from what happened. This was all during the very last act of the Route 91 Harvest Festival. Jason Aldean was performing. A lot of people had waited to stay. You know, Vegas, people leave Sunday morning, but a lot of people had decided to stay all the way through Sunday night. This is the word I'm getting from a lot of family and friends, because they knew Jason Aldean was performing. So they stay. During his 5th or 6th song in his set, all of a sudden people are hearing these gunshots, and you see people kind of going like this, like they thought it was fireworks. There were reports that people thought there were fireworks going off. You can only imagine, only to find out that 32 floors above them at Mandalay Bay, you're looking at a map here. So let's see, Luxor Hotel here. Okay, so this is the 15. This is if you're from the SoCal area who have ever driven to Vegas from SoCal. You go along the 15, you go through Barstow, you go through Baker, you do all of that, and then you arrive on the Las Vegas Strip. And so you see here, this is the exit off of 15. You have Luxor to your left, Mandalay Bay to your right, and the Route 91 Harvest Concert Festival here. So Mandalay Bay is right here, and 32nd floor, boom, right there, makes all those shots, those thousands of people in this little area. This is an empty lot. They convert it every year into this big outdoor concert festival. There are a lot of stages. This year, the theme, there are a lot to do with neon. So there's neon rooms where people had VIP access to. And you're hearing these eyewitness accounts of people saying, we had no idea what was going on, that first responders and police are just telling people to come into these rooms, just come into these rooms, and people are ducking for, and they're just like, you don't think this is going to be you. And my cousins who were there at the concert over the weekend said that it was the type of concert, not where you get tickets and you sit in a chair, so you're with your loved ones or your family or friends the whole time. She said at one point, you know, Tyler's over here, dancing, doing his thing to country music. I'm over here, we're hanging out with friends, drinking, having a good time. It's a festival. And if you've never been to a festival, you know, just so we can paint that picture for you, just how scary this was. All of a sudden you hear gunshots. Where's everyone at? Where's everyone at?
And in a lot of the videos that we're seeing, people don't realize what that sound is for many seconds. Even Jason Aldean, he's up on the stage, and you start to see the videos now from people who were there. You hear those gunshots, and they go off for what seems like 5 to 7 full seconds before Jason finally realizes it, and then before you see the crowd start to disperse. I real quickly would like to read what Jason Aldean put on Instagram last night, because he was, of course, on the stage at the time, and he had to see all of this from the view looking down. He put, "Tonight has been beyond horrific. I still don't know what to say, but I wanted everyone to know that me and my crew are safe. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved tonight. It hurts my heart that this would happen to anyone who is just coming out to enjoy what should have been a fun night." And his hashtags are heartbroken and stop the hate.
And again, we understand that this is a lot to wake up to. We've seen this situation not as bad time and time again. So let's just consider this a safe space. So if you guys want to chime in with comments or just let us know how you're feeling, we are looking at everything, and we'll be interacting throughout this entire segment. But again, this is a lot to handle. Sometimes the best way to do that is to just talk things through and to just vent and just let everyone know how you feel. Or if you have family and friends on the ground in Vegas right now, if you know someone specifically there, let us know what you guys are hearing from them as well.
And we're seeing people comment right now, so thank you everyone for joining in on this conversation. Like Kennelia said, a safe space for all of us to just talk this out and try to wrap our heads around it. LaDonna Ryan, "I just don't understand what this world is coming to." You have Rosita Latona, "I am still in shock. My prayers to the victims and their families." Again, if you're just joining us, more than 50 people dead, more than 400 injured. That number is very fluid. At 5 o'clock, we were reporting that 200 people were injured. Then all of a sudden it was nope. Clark County Fire Department saying now 400 people injured. So Kimberly, Rosita, and LaDonna, thank you. Mark Richards, "Until we begin to have a serious conversation about domestic terrorism and reasonable gun control in America, these situations will continue to happen. Thoughts and prayers for victims of Las Vegas, but it isn't enough."
Kimberly Morgan says, "I have faith in the city of Mesquite and Las Vegas law enforcement. They will get answers to help families with closure." And I know in these sorts of situations, we hear often from the family members of the suspected shooters. And this morning, ABC News did have a producer speak with the brother of Stephen Paddock. And in that conversation, the brother said, "It feels like an asteroid just fell on our family." They were in complete shock. Obviously, they felt like this was out of character for him, and they were very much in disbelief out of what happened. And then we also know his girlfriend was out of the country at the time. Many were speculating early on that she might have had something to do with it. But of course, as we learn more and the investigation continues to unravel, we'll hear so many more details about those who are close to him, and hopefully get to the end where there is a motive at the end of this.
Do you know how, I mean, when you're in Las Vegas, again, if you've never been, I know we're here in the NorCal region, but for anyone tuning in now, you've been to a hotel, right? And you just never know what is going on in the closed door next to you. And that's what's scary. I stayed at Circus this weekend, which is 4.5 miles north of where this incident took place, just outside of Mandalay Bay. And in there, you know, you go up elevators, you're with strangers, you're walking around with a ton of strangers in a small space. You go up, you know, we were on, I forget what floor we were on, 14th floor. You go to the end of the hall. At one point, we see cops going down the hallway, and I even asked my friend James, who I was with, hosting an event in Vegas, I'm going, I wonder what those cops are here for. It's kind of like, they seemed fine. You just don't ever know, and I think that's the scary part for all of us, and we get it if you're at home going, gosh, do we have to live in fear now? I mean, we don't want to instill fear, no, but this is just the reality of what's going on right now. And because we see so much information as it comes because of social media, and we get that, which is why we're warning you every time we put up a video, because if you don't want to see it, you don't have to see it. But the images and the visuals are certainly out there.
And that's what makes us so vulnerable, right?
Yeah,
And you
I
go
think
on
so.
vacation, you just want to go to Vegas and have a great time.
Totally.
Why do you go to Vegas?
Why do you go to Vegas? To have a great time?
Yeah.
Maybe it was a family reunion weekend. You never know, but that then again is the second tier of something like this happening. People are wounded, people are hurt, people died, but then it's the vulnerability of the idea that when I go out of town with my family members, or if I'm just going away for the weekend, now do I have to worry about this as well?
Well, and with that, I mean, there are security checkpoints when you go to these concerts. They have you walk through metal detectors. They do, but at this level, nobody could have prevented.
They could have had all the metal detectors in the world.
I mean, this was a couple of blocks away from a 32nd floor.
32nd floor window.
And so just to understand.
There's Mandalay Bay right
there.
there.
To understand what people must be feeling now as a result, that anxious feeling. I know we have it, and we know that a lot of you out there do. Peggy Gamba also said, the world has gone mad. These mentally ill people are taking innocent people with them. They need to put metal detectors in these large hotels. But again, as we mentioned, maybe going up to the bedrooms and to the hotel rooms, that would have helped. But at some point, can we live our lives that way, where we're constantly having to walk through a metal detector to go to a restaurant, to go, I mean, to do anything?
Well, because you think that, it's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tonight. I remember at one point this weekend, I was like, I want to pop over to the Route 91 Harvest Country Music Festival. Like, you don't think, oh no, but a large crowd of people, there might be a mass shooting. There might be the largest mass shooting in American history happened in Las Vegas.
We shouldn't have to. You know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't have to, but unfortunately that is the reality. And maybe in the coming days, in the coming weeks, months, we'll start to hear conversations about safety in regards to concerts and festivals. Because if you remember, unfortunately, with the Ariana Grande concert overseas. So maybe that will be the shift in conversation. It's unfortunate that we're there, and it's unfortunate that people are losing their lives. But in the meantime, we have to find a way to feel comfortable enough to still live on and still not live in that kind of fear.
You know, on my Facebook profile this morning, you know how memories can pop up on Facebook. And on this date, October 1st, yesterday, 2 years ago, I was in Roseburg, Oregon, covering the shooting at the community college there at Umpqua Community College. And I remember this exact weekend, 2 years ago, these same conversations were happening about how do you protect students going to class? How do you protect the students walking through the different corridors in a community college? And so these conversations, anytime you have a shooting of this nature, of course, you're going to have so many different political figures weighing in and a lot of different sides. But the reality of it is, think of those broken families, think of those communities that are now feeling shattered, think about the law enforcement officials who have to go back to that scene today to start picking up the pieces of the investigation. I mean, it's just, there are so many levels and tiers to this. But yeah, you're right. We've got to get back to a place where we can't let fear win, but how do we get there?
How do we get there? And then it's more comments. Debbie Mayer had friends at the concert. One is disabled. It was scary for them. Still shook up this morning, all safe, but we'll have to deal with this for a long while. They transport more people out of the war zone. And then Amanda Gile, so scary. I was at the concert in Wheatland on Friday night. So
yes, Jason Aldean.
Yeah, so you know, and it touches a lot of people because everybody's been to a concert. And if you haven't, you know friends who've been to a concert. You may wanted to go to a concert, Coachella. You want to experience these
Burning Man
things.
just
Burning
happened.
Man,
Bottle Rock and Napa.
So even if you have never even been, you understand what it feels like to be in such a large open space and to not be able to look over your shoulder. You can't watch everybody in a festival park.
You would never have seen
it. And you shouldn't have to.
You wouldn't have even known. There's been a lot of response, obviously, from our government. So NPR is reporting that House Speaker Paul Ryan ordered flags be lowered to half staff this morning. So that's been part of the response. We know that President Trump did speak this morning. Did I hear him right? It was right before we came on here. Is he coming? Did you say he's coming?
He's coming on Wednesday to Las Vegas.
Going to Las Vegas on Wednesday, and he was supposed to be going to Puerto Rico tomorrow.
Right.
So to help out in those recovery efforts,
and this
unsure the status of that.
Yeah, this is obviously it's the deadliest mass shooting on American soil, which is a sentence we are not proud to have to say.
No.
But under this administration, this is President Trump's first big national tragedy that he's going to have to also help lead and guide the country through. And so a lot of people are waiting to see what he says, how quickly he'll get there. So it does look like he said he wants to be there by Wednesday to offer his support to the families.
Okay. Okay, I know we're getting more comments here. Alma Seaward, OMG. I stayed up until 2:30 a.m. watching this. It is the saddest thing ever. Like I was chatting with Walt about this earlier. We can all put ourselves in those shoes and say, oh my gosh, how about if my child was at that concert? I mean, country music has become very, very popular in the last couple of years, more mainstream than I think it's ever been. And I find myself wanting to go there. I know you love country, and not as much Kennelia, but a concert.
Oh yeah,
and it's
concert,
you go,
that's my thing.
A festival, like music's your jam. Like let's go to it. So for all of you who have been watching and staying with this, you know, as we've learned new information, we do appreciate you. If you do have anyone there, like Debbie Mayer, I know you mentioned that you had friends at the concert and one is disabled. We're so sorry to hear that. But there is a phone number that Las Vegas officials have put out, and we'll give that to you right now. And they're saying if you can't find the person that you're looking for in Las Vegas, or if you know someone who was at the concert and you haven't heard from them, please do contact us here. So grab your pen, grab your phone, 1-866-535-5654, and we'll put that in the comments one more time, 1-866-535-5654. I have colleagues. I worked in Vegas for 4 years. Okay, the phone number's right there on your screen on the bottom left-hand corner, but my colleagues at the ABC affiliate, our sister station in Vegas, obviously have been all over this since the very beginning. And one of the reporters, David Schumann, said that the blood banks and the people who are there at the donation centers, so many locals. And I think the common perception of Vegas, outside of the Las Vegas Strip, outside of the lure of all of that, people often say, is there a culture there? Do people care about each other? Yeah, it's a transient community. Do people care about each other in Las Vegas? And I will say, just from personal experience, that people want to do something to help there. People care about each other. The culture's growing. We know the Raiders are going to be there. They're building this huge stadium in the next couple of years. The Golden Knights hockey, NHL, they just launched a new team in Las Vegas. There was a big game last night, so people were on the Strip for that. There's a lot happening in Las Vegas right now, and the locals surely are doing everything they can to help. I have another friend who was there as a taxi cab to transport people. I had another friend who was, my cousin said her friend was there locked in New York, because they just didn't want anyone on the Strip, locked in this little cubby in New York, had to stay the night at a stranger's place, in a room, a stranger's room. So just so much chaos last night during a weekend that was supposed to be just a great getaway.
Yeah, and more people commenting. Donna Marie Munzingo said, I woke up to this, so sad my niece lives there. She posted that she's safe, but knows people who attended the concert. Tammy Turner said, it's a real shame what our world is coming to. Nick Bryan, I was at County in the park in August. So again, everybody, even if you're not there per se, we're all connected. And just like Megan was saying in regards to like a culture, even when there isn't a particular known culture, people come together in times like this. And
so much has been going on.
Yeah, so much has been going on, and we have been jumping into action, whether it's for hurricane relief, for earthquakes, or situations like this where people are losing their lives in such a tragic way. This is the time when we really spring into action, and people are like, you know what? Even if I'm in Massachusetts, I want to do something. Yeah. I want to do something. Maybe you donate blood, maybe you donate funds, whatever people need.
And I know on our website, abc10.com, our web team has been working all morning to get a list together of the places that you can donate blood to. Local blood banks are asking for you to donate blood, and then they're going to hopefully get that to the people in need. And so on our website, abc10.com, they're working to get a whole list. I think there were 15 at last check of places you could go around Northern California and in the greater Sacramento area to do that. Real quickly, Lynette Brigante says, heartbroken and just shaken to my core. And that was something, when I saw this morning when I woke up, that's exactly how it felt. So when you say to your core, from the inside out, you feel angry and frustrated and saddened and sickened, and there's just so many things internally. And I think, you know, when I told my husband, I woke him up and I said there was another shooting. He goes, okay, well, where was it this time? And it's just, you know, it happens so often that that there's a this time, you know, and I think that's what's difficult as, you know, an American who we have seen so much of our fair share of weather phenomenons lately, and so much life lost because of things that are out of our control.
Yeah.
And then to see yet another shooting like this, I think we're all feeling that heavy weight of that this morning.
Someone with no criminal history, someone who had 10 firearms in his hotel room, someone who had been there as in Mandalay Bay, 32nd floor, had been there since September 28th. I mean, people who were going in and out of Mandalay Bay, how many times did he pass people? How many times was he in an elevator with people? And it's just like, what was it that at that moment, the very last set of a 3-day concert, to ruin so many lives? It's not just 50 people who are dead. That's the devastating part. It's 50 people and all of their parents and cousins and friends and family. He has ruined so many lives. One person.
Yep.
And that is just so sad. And the 400 plus injured, whether it be a bruise to life-threatening injury, we don't know what those are. But UMC, you know, the medical centers around Las Vegas and around the region are just at capacity this morning. And it's just sad to see that. You had shown, Dina, you saw a video of Mandalay Bay, in case you're unfamiliar with where that's at. Can we pop up the map one more time if you're just tuning in?
Yeah.
Deadliest mass shooting on U.S. soil has occurred. It had occurred last night at 10:08. Someone from the 32nd floor, and I don't just say someone, I say the Joseph Paddock here, Stephen Paddock, 64 years old, Mandalay Bay, 32nd floor, shot at the Route 91 Harvest Concert area, which you see right there just north of Mandalay Bay, diagonal to it, and 50 people dead and 400 people injured. Just in perspective where that's at. This is with the south end of the Las Vegas Strip.
We mentioned that the president went and, you know, spoke in front of the entire country this morning, and I'm also just seeing Joseph Lombardo, who is the sheriff of the Las Vegas Metro Police Department and who's been giving all of our updates this morning. This picture was just tweeted this morning. What a great pleasure to speak with our president. Thank you for your phone call, your support, and your prayers. So it looks like he did get a personal phone call from the president as well. So obviously, while the president is not yet there, he is planning to be there on Wednesday, and made a personal phone call to the sheriff to express his condolences.
And that's Mayor Goodman.
Mayor Goodman there.
So it's just, you know, they've been longtime residents. Her and her husband, Oscar, have been the mayors. She is now current standing mayor, but they have been in that town for so many years. And for them, you know, this has been a town much like Northern California, on the rise. You know, a town where, yes, it's been a destination since the Rat Pack days and before that, but now it's become this place where they just had the Life is Beautiful music festival last weekend. Huge festival in downtown Las Vegas. Downtown is really coming up. It's a place where people now are like talking about the arts and the culture, just like, again, here in downtown Sacramento. So it begs the question, as a city becomes more popular and more of a destination, and it's a city, you know, as we become more of a region on the rise, what are ways in which we can feel protected and feel safe and just be very aware? And we're going to continue to dig and get professionals in here to talk about ways in which to not only cope but to prepare. And I think that's so important.
And ways to how to discuss with kids, because certain situations like this, no one can avoid hearing about this in some capacity. It could be as simple as you feel like you're not comfortable enough talking to your kids about it, but someone's parent talked to their child about it, and you get to school and then they're talking about it amongst themselves. So in the coming days, you will probably start to hear from different professionals or just different ways to address the situation overall, because something like this affects everyone.
Yeah, we've talked to psychologists in the past, because unfortunately this has happened far too many times. And a lot of parents say, you know, I didn't want to have this conversation with my child, but I know they're going to hear about it at school, like you said. So the psychologist in the past that we've spoken with says, answer their questions, but don't give them more than you think they need to, because they probably can't process it all. So you can say this person was bad. You can say he hurt somebody. And again, this was from a psychologist the last time we had another mass shooting. But a lot of it will be letting your child speak to you. Let them explain their thoughts, let them go through the motions of trying to get out what is inside of their mind, because a lot of times they don't really understand what they're processing. But a psychologist I spoke with last time said, let them ask you questions and just let them know that you're there for them, that you care about them, that your home is a safe place, that you're going to make sure they're okay, and reiterating that relationship that you have with them, while you can't really, of course, explain everything that's happening in the world, you can remind them that your home is a safe place, their school is going to be a safe place, their friends are still safe. And
so they can't live in fear.
Right.
We have Reggie Cepeda, You Truly Never Know.
Look at your message, sorry.
Okay. We know we have a full team here making sure that we get the latest information. We do have new information coming in. Sheriff Lombardo, who Dina was mentioning a moment ago, has new information. Press conference taking place in Vegas. Again, right now, 58 people now confirmed dead, 515 people injured. Again, that number is up. 50 people just a couple of minutes ago. Now 58 confirmed dead, 515 injured. Do we want to take Sheriff Lombardo right now? We're going to keep with this conversation. We have a simultaneous Facebook Live happening right now. So if you have two phones, go ahead and stream them both at the same time, or we'll when we're done with this, we'll have that up for you. And Facebook Live lives on our Facebook page for eternity, so you'll be able to get that. But as we have our digital producer here who's actually going to be feeding us the information from the Lombardo press conference right now, so you guys can still be in this conversation, and we'll bring you the latest information. Wow, 58 now dead, 515 injured.
And something to remind
Here's
all
the
of
press.
you on.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
Here's
sure.
the press conference happening now. We'll keep this up, and the information you need to know we'll get and relay to you. So go ahead, Dina.
Okay. So when we talk about the people who are injured and the reason why the number of deaths continues to be fluid, a lot of the injuries, of course, sustained by these gunshots were critical. And so it's going to take days, even weeks probably, to get to a confirmed death toll.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, that happens as a result of this. Also, people checking themselves into hospitals outside of the metro area, wanting to make sure that those closest to where this happened have enough doctors to care for those who really need it. But there will be dozens of people, I'm sure, who go to outlying areas, who seek medical attention, not in that direct location. And so these numbers will continue to change. And that's kind of how the process works in these sorts of crime scene investigations. And so if you hear us telling you the numbers now, and if it goes up or down, usually that's why that's happening.
Yeah, people still chiming in. Kimberly Morgan, yep, my kids saw me being a hot mess this morning, tears uncontrollably falling. I had to explain to them what happened.
And Kimberly, if you can, if you feel comfortable enough, sharing what that conversation was like for maybe the other parents who are looking at this thread now.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, the three of us not yet parents, but we certainly can feel the grief that you feel, and I can't imagine what those conversations must be like with your kids.
Yeah, it's shaking to us, if we're sitting here going, oh my gosh, we feel uneasy. You can imagine what children are going through right now. It's just such a sad situation. I can't believe that number went from 200 people injured at 5 a.m. this morning to 400 people injured at 6 a.m. this morning, 6 a.m. And then now, what's our time right now? Time check 8:42, we have 515 people injured, 58 now confirmed dead. Wow, I just go back to the scene and what it must have been like, and thank goodness for all of those first responders and all of the police officers and the firefighters and everyone who was involved, Metro Police Department, Clark County Fire Department, everyone in Las Vegas.
And just concert goers. And we saw a lot of
protecting each other.
Concert goers protecting each other.
Yeah.
If someone had a car, they would just put everybody in the car, even if they didn't know them, and drive away from the scene, because again, when something like this happens, you help everybody. Let's scoop everybody up and let's get out of here together. Let's all do what we can, or let's save lives together.
Yeah, there was one man saying, one of the eyewitness accounts, he was describing, and he just broke down. This was on GMA this morning, and he just said, there were young girls around me, and as an older gentleman, he felt that need to protect, and he's like, and I'm just trying to direct people. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you just hop into what's
fight or flight.
Yeah, you got to survive here. What's the instinct? We saw another video where the girl's she's ducking down, holding her cowboy hat over her head. You do that, you think that's going to protect that. I won't protect you from gunshots, but of course that's what you do as a human being. You're just trying to huddle around people. Oh, so sad.
I do want to share, Rosalinda Calkins says, yes, be a really good listener to your children and let them express their feelings. Don't overload them with too much emotion or information. I'm a child psychologist, and kids do take in what's around them, so they need to be able to have a space to express themselves as well. So Rosalinda, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I think that's valuable information.
Okay, as we mentioned, this is a press conference that is happening live in Las Vegas right now. They had Sheriff Lombardo speaking, and he did talk about the death toll, how it is on the rise, also the injured list on the rise, but also FBI special agent at Las Vegas news conference says there is no connection, quote unquote, no connection with an international terrorist group after ISIS tried to claim responsibility, according to the AP this morning. When I first saw that come across, you go, oh, great. ISIS claiming responsibility. We are getting confirmation from an FBI special agent at Las Vegas news conference, which is happening live right now. There is no connection with ISIS.
Okay.
So there's that.
There's that. And coming up at 9 o'clock this morning, we're going to do one more recap on the air, ABC 10 if you're watching in the greater Sacramento area, and then we'll also be going back to Good Morning America where they are continuing a special report and special coverage. Our Facebook page is going to be a resource of information. Our website, again, will have the list of all the different blood donation sites that you can help go give blood if you feel like that's something you need to do in this time. But please continue to stick with us. And if you have any other questions, if you have any other concerns, this is your safe space. We want you to continue to chime in, and we feel what you are all feeling as well. I can assure you that.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Do we want to read? I know, Kennelia, you have the comments up. I have a hard time. Producer Billy's in our ear saying, do we maybe want to read Kimberly Morgan?
Kimberly Morgan, yeah. She said, I explained to them in regards to talking to her young children that a bad man shot guns at a lot of people. I told them that he hurt a lot of people and killed. They know what death is. I didn't explain where the people were because I didn't want them to be scared of being out.
Okay.
And again, Kimberly Morgan, a loyal viewer, she has children, young children, ranging in ages. So again, a lot of parents are having the tough conversations this morning, and it's just good to hear how some of you are handling it.
Thanks, Kimberly, for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Kimberly. And again, we'll just wrap it up on this note. As television's children's host, Mr. Rogers, once said that his mother responded to scary news by saying, look for the helpers. And I think that's one thing we can do this morning. Look for the helpers, look for the people who want to donate blood, and maybe you got to call the number. And I'll give it one more time, 1-866-535-5654 if you were looking for anyone who may have been affected by this mass shooting. The largest mass shooting on American soil happened at 10:08 last night. We'll have continuing coverage coming up at 9 with Dina on TV and throughout the day on ABC 10 TV, Facebook page, abc10.com. Everyone, find the helpers and have a good day. Try to at least.